Good day to you all. This is C.S. Srinivas Rao, Associate Professor, Department of Computer Science, SVKP and Dr. K.S. Raju Arts and Science College, Penugonda. Today I discuss deadlocks. Actually, within these deadlocks, deadlock characterization, prevention, avoidance, detection, all are covered offline. But I need to recap these topics and again I will discuss the recovery from deadlock also. Now within deadlocks, first we discuss about deadlock characterization, next prevention, how to avoid the deadlock, how to detect the deadlock and how to recover from deadlock. These are the topics I need to cover. First of all, deadlock characterization. There are 4 necessary conditions for deadlock identification. One is the mutual exclusion, second one is the hold and wait, third one is no preemption, fourth one is circular wait. Mutual exclusion means only one process at a time can use a resource. That means all resources are non-shareable. Only the single process can hold the resource. So the resources are non-shareable. Second condition is hold and wait. A process holding at least one resource and it is requesting the other resources. Those resources are held by other processes. This is called it holds the resource and it is waiting for some other resources held by other processes. Third condition is no prevention. One is a resource can be released only voluntarily by the process holding it after completion of that entire task. Whenever the process completes its task, that time only the process can release the resource. In the middle of that one, the process will not release the resource. That is called no preemption. Fourth condition is circular wait. There exists a set of processes starting from P0 to Pn waiting. These are the processes such that P0 is waiting for a resource. That resource is held by P1. Similarly, P1 is waiting for a resource that is held by P2. Like that, Pn-1 is waiting for a resource. That resource is held by Pn. And Pn is waiting for a resource that is held by P0. This is P0. That means a direction from P0 to P1, P1 to P2, P2 to P3, like that Pn, and then it repeats from Pn to P0. This is circular wait. So these are the 4 necessary conditions for deadlock. Next, resource allocation graph. This graph is used for detection of deadlock. So within this resource allocation graph, there are several vertices and edges. So vertices are again 2 types. One is the processes, second one is the resources. Edges are 2 types, request edge. So this is the directed edge from process to resource. An assignment edge. This is also a directed edge from resource to process. Now resource allocation graph symbols. Circle, this indicates the process. Square indicates the resources. And there are 4 instances within this square. So that means the same resource type, it has k instances. This is the 4 instances of one resource type. PI requests an instance of RJ. PI is the process, it requests one instance of RJ. PI is holding an instance of RJ. PI holds one instance of RJ. This is the one example of resource allocation graph. P1 requesting R1, that R1 held by P2. P2 again requesting R3 held by P3. Similarly, R2 there are 2 instances. One instance is held by P1 and another instance is held by P2. R4 is the one more resource type. There are 3 instances, but no process holds this particular resource type. Here, this is the one example of resource allocation graph, but this is not a deadlock because there is no cycle in the deadlock. Now, for example, if you add one more edge from P3 to R2, that means P3 requesting one instance of R2. Actually, there are 2 instances of R2. These 2 are allocated for One is P1, second one is P2. There is no instance of R2 is available for the remaining processes, so the P3 has to wait. Now P1 is waiting for P2 and P2 is waiting for P3, P3 is waiting for P1, P2. So this is each and every process is waiting for another process. So this is a cycle, hence this is a deadlock, resource allocation graph with a deadlock. Basic facts: if graph contains no cycles, there is no deadlock. If graph contains a cycle and if only one instance per resource type, then deadlock. If multiple instances are there, even though cycle is formed, so there is a possibility of deadlock, but there is no guarantee of deadlock. If it is single instance and you find the cycle, definitely that is a deadlock. If there is a multiple instance, even though there is a cycle, that is not possibility of deadlock. So only the graph is used to detect the deadlock for single instance, not for multiple instances. Deadlock prevention. The next topic is deadlock prevention. So the prevention means just you fail one of the conditions. There are 4 necessary conditions. One is the mutual exclusion, second one is the hold and wait, third one is the no preemption, fourth one is the circular wait. First of all, you fail the mutual exclusion. How to fail this? The not required for shareable resources must hold for a non-shareable. Just you make all the resources are non-shareable, so then no process is wait. So each and every process, if it requests the resource is shareable, then it can access. If it is not shareable, so then mutual exclusion is there. If it is shareable, so it is available for each and every process, no process is in waiting. So this is the one prevent the deadlock by failing the mutual exclusion. Second one is hold and wait. First of all, hold. You fail hold and then fail wait. How to fail the hold? It allows process to request resources only when the process has none. So the process can request the resources only when the process has none. If no resources is allocated to the process, then only it can request the resources. No resource is allocated for this one. That means there is no resource. That means it fails the hold and it fails the wait. This requires to request and allocate all its resources before its beginning. That means it holds all the resources and from there onwards there is no request. That means there is no waiting. So these are the two. This is the one protocol. By using this protocol, you can fail the hold and wait. How to fail the no preemption? If a process that is holding some resources requests some resources and it requests another resources, those resources can be immediately allocated to it, then all resources currently being held are released. So here, if a process that is holding some resources and requests another resources, it holds some resources and requests another resources, those resources that cannot be immediately allocated to it. So those resources are not immediately allocated to this process. Then all the resources currently being held by this process is released. So make all those resources held by this process available to the other processes. This is preemption. And preempted resources are added to the list of resources for which the process is waiting. So all the preempted resources are available for other processes. Process will be restarted only when it can regain all its old resources as well as the new resources that is requesting. Then only you can restart the particular process. And how to fail the circular wait? Impose a total ordering of all resource types and require that each process requests the resources in an increasing order of enumeration. First, just you take the one example. P1, it holds the R1. That means R1 is the one resource, R2 is the another resource. P1 is the one process. P1 holds the R1 and P1 can request the resources which are greater than that R1. That means it can request the R2. That is a valid request. For example, there is a P2 process. It holds the R2 and then it can request the R1. So P2 holds the R2 and it is requesting R1. R1 is the decreasing number. It must increase number. That means the P2 can request either the resource 3, 4, 5 like that. Greater than the resource number is greater than R2. But it is requesting R1. R1 means that is decreasing order. So here the circular wait can fail. So whenever the P2 requests R1, then it will reject it. So that is the one way to fail the circular wait. Deadlock avoidance. The next topic is deadlock avoidance. So prior information is, this is the simplest and most useful model. Requires that each process declare a max. Max is the one matrix or data structure. So it specifies the maximum number of resources for each process. And second one is deadlock avoidance algorithm dynamically examines the resource allocation state. That is to ensure there can never be circular wait condition. Never be the circular wait condition. Resource allocation state is defined by the number of available and allocated resources. From there onwards, we can calculate the need also and the maximum demands of the processes. So maximum minus allocated. Then we have the need. Now basic facts. If a system is in safe state, there is no deadlock. If the system is in unsafe, there is a possibility of deadlock. There is no guarantee of deadlock. There is a possibility of deadlock. If it is safe, no deadlock. It is guaranteed. If a system is in unsafe state, there is no possibility. There is a possibility of deadlock. There is no guarantee. Avoidance. It ensures the system will never enter into unsafe state. Never enter into unsafe state. Diagrammatically we can represent. This is the unsafe state. This is the safe state. So if your system is the safe state, there is no deadlock. If the system is unsafe, there may be a deadlock. If your system is in deadlock, that must be in unsafe state. This diagram represents that one. Whether that is the system is safe or unsafe and deadlock is in unsafe state. Data structures for the Banker's algorithm. The Banker's algorithm is the deadlock avoidance algorithm. So data structures. One is the available. So this is the vector of length m, where m is the number of resources, m number of resources. If available of j is equal to k means there are k instances of resource rj is available. Next data structure is max. This is the n by m matrix. There are n number of processes, m number of resources. If max of I comma j is equal to k, that means a process pi, it requires at most k instances of resource type rj. Allocation is the another data structure. Allocation is also n by m matrix. If allocation of I comma j is equal to k, the process pi is currently allocated k instances of rj. Currently allocated k instances of rj to process pi. Then you calculate the need. Need is also n by n matrix by using the max and allocation. Need of I comma j is equal to k means the process pi needs k more instances of resource rj. The formula is need I comma j is equal to max minus allocation. Safety algorithm. So this is the one algorithm. This is used to determine whether your system is safe or not. Let finish be the vector of length n. That n is the number of processes. So finish of I is equal to false. That means each and every process is not yet completed. So that's why the initial value for each and every process of finish vector is false. Find an I, find a process I such that both finish of I is equal to false and need I is less than or equal to available. That means finish of I is equal to false means that is not yet completed. And second condition is need I is less than or equal to available means the resources and needs for the process pi is available. So that is available, then allocate all those resources. If it is not completed and the need of the resources of the requested